What if success came down to 5 simple hobbies? Most of the time, days are like clockwork. Wake up, shower, get dressed, make breakfast, head to work, come home, eat dinner, do chores, and back into bed to start it all again. It's monotonous. Have you ever wanted to break the cycle? Do you know where you want to be? Are you frustrated with where you're at? What if there was one way you could get where you want to be by doing the things that you want to do? Everyone has something that they enjoy doing. It could be anything, even something as simple as stepping outside to enjoy some fresh air. Regardless of what it is, these hobbies could be enhancing a part of your life. They can help you make money, keep you creative, keep you in shape, improve your knowledge, or strengthen your mindset. It seems almost like a piece of pie. Think about the hobbies that you have right now and where those hobbies will fit in those categories, as well as how often that you actually do those hobbies. For me, I love making videos, the whole entire process. It's something that I actually get to do every day in my job, as well as for myself. Thankfully, this hobby fits into 2 categories for me: money and creativity. I also love parkour. It's something that I've done on and off for a long time, and it definitely keeps me in shape. And then there are the hobbies to increase my knowledge and better my mindset, which I would say is probably actively reading. So I'm currently focused on improving my cinematography skills, so I'm reading this book to help me do that. And this book is helping me further my mindset. Honestly, I could probably read a little bit more and it wouldn't hurt. So far, my pie chart is looking a little like this. Looking at it now, I wonder how I could possibly balance it a little bit better. I would mainly need more time to do parkour and read, I think, which that shouldn't be too difficult to do. However, I figured let's start by making a video on these hobbies. That may not be the best way to balance at the beginning, but we're gonna do it anyway. So I sat down and I began writing out my hobbies and where they would fit in this short script. I made a goal for myself with this video. I wanted each of the hobbies to transition seamlessly into one another. With this goal in mind, I moved into the shot listing. And this is the part where I came up with shots that would accompany the voiceover to accomplish this goal. When I was shot listing, I already had locations in mind as well so that I could craft the shots to those specific locations. This way, each shot would be very precise and carefully thought out. I feel pretty good about this whole plan, and execution should go smoothly. Alright, day 1 of production, I'm starting very simple by just staying in this little studio space. That way I can kind of get a little warm up for the rest of the shoot. I have 9 shots to do for this set, so let's get started with the lighting. So I want to make a day for night scene. So let's start by getting the lighting right just in this studio space first. Now I want to start with the soft light, kind of to mimic the sunlight coming through these windows over here and lighting up this entire space. In order to do this, I'll use my 720B set up behind some translum paper, which translum paper is basically like a big piece of diffusion paper, that way it gets a nice soft light. Now, so far this light seems pretty harsh. So I'm gonna add my Easy Glow Strip softbox on top of that, so that way I can have a double diffused light and make it that much softer. That finalizes the lighting inside of this set. Now let's head outside. I took my 300D outside and I'm gonna put it up to shine through my window as if it was sunlight coming through there. This set has shots in 3 scenes: the intro, money, and knowledge scenes. Let's begin with the intro shot. I want to have this intro shot establish the tone for the whole video, as well as the location where some hobbies take place. The setup is a little complicated with the keyhole. I had to take a piece of poster board and cut a keyhole in it, and use my probe lens so that it could fit straight through it. I thought about using the slider, but I realized that I needed a couple shots. I needed the first shot that would just be my eye looking through the keyhole, and then the next shot would be moving the tripod to where the camera would have been on a slider, and removing the keyhole to then have that wide establishing shot. So I shot this 2 different ways as well. I have just a regular clean plate without anything in there. And then I have one where I'm turning and opening my laptop. So the reason why I have that is because I want to then mask myself in after I do the turn, just to sort of start the video that way. Let's move in to the money section. This is going to be all about editing. These shots are pretty much all B-roll shots, so no talking is going to be in it, and it's going to be detail shots of just the editing process. It should be pretty simple to achieve, at least I thought. When I actually began doing this, there was a lot of lens changes, and it was difficult to get the compositions that I wanted to at this small little desk with this big old tripod. Plus, I had to actually pull out my video transmission system. That way I can actually see where I am in the frame and be in focus without having to run back and forth, since this screen only tilts, which means it just goes up and down. It doesn't actually swing out like my R50 up here. With these shots, I made sure to also get a couple different variations to where I had some tighter shots of the same thing, just in case if I wanted to make it a quicker edit, or if I wanted to use the other shot over the one that I initially had planned. One to make you money. That's a wrap on the money section. Now comes the knowledge. I'm pretty motivated to get this done, so let's just jump right in. I'm gonna start with the shots that don't need the probe lens. That way I don't really have to mess with my lighting, and it won't be as complex yet. So now these shots are gonna be B-roll shots, just like the last section. It's gonna require the same lenses and a lot of the similar setups, but this time just using the books that I mentioned. I'm hoping it's pretty simple, but let's see how it goes. One to build your knowledge, and one to... Now that I've wrapped on section 1, I'm utterly exhausted, but I'm super ready to continue this momentum into day 2. So before starting day 2, I just wanted to start off by saying that making a fully produced video by yourself after a long day is not necessarily the easiest. I often find myself contemplating 2 thoughts: if I should rest and pick up the video another day, or if I should continue and finish filming. I put a lot of effort into my work, and I usually come home needing a reset. Usually I'll take about an hour and a half to reset when I get home. I'll eat, I'll go for a walk, and then I'll rest a little bit before exerting the rest of my creative and physical efforts into my own goals. I like to think that motivation comes from taking the first step. Let's compare it to running, for example. In order to run, the very first thing that you need to do is take that initial step. Momentum is a lot easier to keep than it is to start. Just a little food for thought. Let's get into it. All right, day 2, I'm gonna keep this one rather light because day 3 is gonna be a completely different beast in terms of production speed and physical exertion. I'm gonna be staying home to get the mindset shot done. Thankfully, this is only one shot. I was originally hoping to get this shot done in the day, but it's getting dark really fast, so let's come up with a creative solution for what we have right here. First, let's take a look at what we have here. So we have the pool and the fire bowl. And that's about it. Unless we shoot towards the house, towards the screened-in porch, then we can use little lights that are in there for maybe a motivator light or some nice little bokeh, which I'm actually thinking I might do. Plus, there's one other thing that I really want to try. I've seen it done thousands of times in movies and in plenty of behind-the-scenes videos, and that is faking moonlight. Funny enough, the moon is actually a hard light. It's literally just reflecting the sun. And if you pay attention at night, there are very harsh shadows, which means that you can see the sharp line that it has. So the first thing I'm gonna do is grab my Nanlite 720B, and I'm actually gonna put it up over behind the fence to basically have my moonlight. Now at first it's way too harsh even if I bring the power down, so I'm actually gonna throw my softbox on this just to sort of diffuse the light a little bit more. Maybe not exactly like a moon, but it does match the clouds that are in the sky tonight. Clouds act as a natural diffuser anyways for the sun, and they do the same exact thing for the moon. After I get that set up, the only thing left to do is shoot the shot. One to evolve your mindset. Well, I feel pretty happy with how that turned out. The moon actually worked without the softbox, so woohoo, let's go. Now that concludes day 2, so let's head into day 3. Day 3 is here, and I'm just a little worried. It's getting dark really fast. It's that time of year, and I don't get out of work until it's pretty much dark already. I'm going to try and get this portion done during my lunch break. Now, here's the issue. I need to get from my work to the parkour spot. Now, there isn't guaranteed parking down at the parkour spot, so I need to find a good place to park before I end up lugging my gear all the way over to the spot. Once I get to the spot, I have to somehow warm up. I don't know how. Then I have to set up the camera in the different positions for the different shots that I need, all within 1 hour. I really hope I don't go over my lunch break. All right, it's time to head to lunch, so let's get to the spot. Thankfully, I found parking. I hoofed my way over here, so I made it here pretty quickly. I only have 6 shots to do, but I gotta figure out how to get them done without overexerting myself. There's 2 ways I could do it. I could either start with the insert shots with like the B-roll of me doing smaller moves, that way I can warm up a little bit, or I just get a little bit of a warm up in myself and jump right into the wide shot where I'm doing the whole line and combining bits and pieces together that way, and then jumping into the insert shots since those will go a lot quicker, but also require a lens change. So right now, what I'm thinking is I'll jump into the whole line and then do the close-ups later. If the line doesn't go well, then it will have to be tweaked. Before I waste any more time, let's get into it. I surprised myself. I got it done within 2 tries. I won't really count the first try that I had because that was like a warm-up where I literally went through the basic moves that I knew I had to get and then kind of just jumped in between the other ones that I didn't get yet. I at least wasn't warmed up to do yet. 2 tries later, I get this shot. All right, so this actually went a lot smoother than I thought it would. I got the whole line done within 2 takes, which was really, really surprising. The rest of the B-roll, I knocked those out rather quickly. It's pretty much just like one to the next and the next and the next. It's only 2-hour parking, so I don't have much longer until I have to get back to my car or get a ticket. Instead of getting a ticket, let's run back to my car. I was cutting it really close. It should be all right, but let's start plugging away. I've made it home and I can gladly say that's a wrap on shooting. I want to take you guys with me during my editing process. I've already gone ahead and imported the footage, and the first thing I'm going to do is make a rough cut while referencing my shot list. For this, I really just want to get the clips in the proper order of how the video should be. Now that I've got the rough cut in place, let's move into color grading. So the first thing to do is to go into the color tab. I chose to color grade this shot just because I like how it looks. So the very first thing that we need to do is make our color conversion. So we have our input device transform and our output device transform. I'm going to be using ACES for this. In the input device transform, I tell it that I shot with Blackmagic Design Film Gen 5 and I want it to go to ACES CCT CSC. For the second one, ACES CCT CSC, for input, output will be Rec 709. There we go, now we have a converted image. Now, let's just come in here, let's make a couple nodes. I think that finalizes the look for this shot. I'm going to jump into color grading the rest of my shots, and I'll see you guys back at the transitions. With the color grading all done, now I can move into the transitions and reframes. I plan on reframing a lot of these shots just to add a little bit more dynamism to it, if that's even a word. Just make it more dynamic. With the transitions, I've got the very first one where I will be masking out my face as I pass the keyhole and zooming through it to show myself entering the frame. I also plan on masking myself in as I spin in the chair, that way I can sort of magically appear. After that, this first portion is pretty simple, just a bunch of different reframes until we get to the zooming into the screen. When we zoom into the screen, that should be fairly easy as well, since I have the original clip underneath it, and all I have to do is zoom in, match the composition to how it is, and then kind of dissolve them into each other. I also plan on adding a bunch of light leak transitions in the creative portion. This way things can transition between each other seamlessly, plus it'll look even better since I have all those light leaks naturally in the footage. When we get to the in-shape portion, I have this really strange idea of having this main wide shot be a bunch of different clones doing a bunch of different moves all at the same time. For this, all I need to do is go in and use the magic mask tool in order to actually mask each move out individually and have them stacked on top of one another, all moving in slow motion so that it will be sort of cool to look at. Then comes this brick to paper transition. With this transition, I am just going to do the best that I can to match the lines of the paper to the bricks on the ground. And I might even reverse the clip of the paper, that way it matches the same motion as the bricks. Ideally, they fade into each other really well, then it just transitions into the end part where I show a quick clip from the best shots of each individual segment. So you have like money, creativity, mindset, you get the deal.
You need 5 hobbies in your life. One to keep you creative, one to keep you in shape.
Having finished all the transitions, we're going to be moving into what I think is the most important part of any video, the sound design. I'll start by watching the video on mute and writing down the sounds that I see visually. What I mean by this is any sounds like clicking mouses, typing keyboards, anything that I would see visually there, as well as any ambient sounds that I would think is in that scene. Once I have all those written down, I will go through my assets in my sound effects library personally and see if I have them, and if I don't, then I will go to Envato to get some nice sound effects. After everything is found, I then start to put it into the actual timeline itself. I'll start with the ambient sounds for each scene, then I'll move into the Foley sounds like the keyboard typing or the mouse clicking. And to top it all off, I finish with the transition sounds, so whooshes, risers, and hits, before moving into the final mix.
One to make you money,
Only thing left to do now is to export the video and enjoy watching it. I really enjoyed the whole process of this entire video from start to finish, and I'm really happy that I got to bring you guys along with me. Hopefully you enjoyed it and hopefully you learned something, and I will catch you guys in the next one.
You need 5 hobbies in your life. One to make you money, one to keep you creative, one to keep you in shape, one to build your knowledge, and one to evolve your mindset. Once you develop these hobbies, you will be unstoppable.
Yeah, happy with that.
Come back down, boy. Where'd my pen go? Where's my pen? Where is it? Where is it? Yeah, boy.
Well, that just happened.